What's going on, everyone? It is Sunday, time for our AMA. But first, we got a special guest with us. Bear with me because I probably have all my settings wrong, so I don't know if you guys can hear anything or not. So we're about to see if this even works. But we do got Big Piggy here from Raptoreum to talk about some things that they've been working on, the testnet, and a bunch of questions that you guys may have for the future of Raptoreum and CPU mining. So I'm going to bring it on right quick here. We're going to skip the roll call. I apologize. I got way too many windows open right now. But I'm going to bring it on here. That's not working. What's going on here? That's the wrong one. Hold on. There we go. There we go. So here we have Big Piggy. Say something. I want to make sure that my sound is working, so give a quick hi and everything first. I just got to make sure it's coming in through the stream or not. I just got to find my other tab here. All right, people in the stream, can you hear anything? Can't hear anything? Okay, they can't hear you right now, so I got to try to figure out what my issue is. Yeah, it sounds like they can't hear you. I have something wrong. Let's just see here. This undone. So many sound devices here. Okay, let's see what we gotta do here. Maybe if I just run it through the desktop, it might work, but we'll see what happens. Default. Let's see, output, desktop. Let's see here, desktop. See if that does anything. Try saying something. Oh, nothing there at all. Try something there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Turn that up.
it's
there.
coming through. And we're live. Woohoo!
Yeah, but now there might be double feedback because it might be coming back through my mic.
Uh-oh.
That's there. I need to try to adjust your sound coming just to my headset while somehow the stream thing needs to pick up you.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm butchering this.
I'm not sure I'd say that.
Okay.
There are an awful lot of settings to mess around with. It's why we basically don't stream if Paul isn't around for it, because he's got a machine set up for it.
Uh-oh. I messed that one up. Wrong button.
Oh. We're live on Twitch.
Yeah, it's live on all those. I just gotta figure out. Yeah, it's live there, but I gotta figure out what the heck. I need to change my two outputs around.
Ah,
I gotta see, what are they saying in chat? I'm assuming everything is coming through.
hey, you hear both of us? All right.
Well, I guess we can work it one way. I can just hit my mic mute button every time you go to talk, so
Ooh,
that could
are
work
we
too.
planning? That's a good question from Alvidas. Jacob. I can't read that last little bit there. Jacob Balkas, I think. We are definitely looking at something like that for later on. Yeah.
All right, so I guess.
.rtm domains.
Okay, so I guess we'll start it here, and then I'll just mute my mic whenever you go to mention stuff. That way I can still hear you coming through my desktop speakers.
Perfect.
All right, so here we are with Big Piggy. We're going to have some announcements on what you guys have been doing lately. So I guess to start off, what's been going on?
I mean, first of all, thanks for having us on, man. You've been a fantastic supporter of the project right from when we launched. You were there, helped get the word out. It's been epic, really. We really appreciate this level of support, and that's why we're out like this, trying to reach back out and show that we also want to support the content creators who have been supporting us through this long period. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. 2 days ago, we kicked live our testnet, which is going to bring assets to our mainnet. The one thing we were concerned about bringing our assets code live was that if somebody decided to attack the chain right at asset launch, they might theoretically be able to do so, because we would have to switch off some of the node protection if we were using a completely hard fork where we have an arbitrary software activation in it. What we've got now instead, and what this whole testnet is for testing a softer voting-based upgrade. So we're going to start distributing in a couple of days on the testnet new code, and this new code will start voting from, I believe, some point in the first week of April. And once the code sees that voting has reached roughly 80%, both on the proof of work and on the smart nodes, this is where it's different from regular BIP9 voting, which some of you may remember from the hash rate wars on Bitcoin, when Bitcoin Cash went off and forked off on their own. What I was trying to say was, yeah, this voting is now also running on our smart nodes. So when 80% of them are upgraded, they will be the second layer to okay the upgrade process. And once we have that consensus, it will activate the asset features without us having to turn off chain lock protection, even if it were just for a few hours or anything like that. So this should be very exciting. We've got exchanges interested in listing RTM-based assets. We've got a library, a JavaScript library in development for that same process, to make it easier for JavaScript, for basically exchanges or NFT marketplaces or anything like that that may want to integrate RTM. able to
You
do so
mentioned
easily.
you mentioned some of the exchanges interested. Is there any information on possibly which ones those may be? Is that for Raptorium as well as the assets that could end up released on it?
Those are for the assets. We are already on one of them. The second one we may be getting on fairly soon. And the third one is a planned launch for the end of the year.
Interesting. And this is what, the third phase of the testnet, I think? Or is it, there have been more than that?
There have been more than that. There were several phases with futures. There have been 2 phases with assets. Basic assets code is essentially done. What's next with assets is improving the UI for it to make it simpler to use for people, and getting in the full range of automation. So you can set up things like automatically recurring transactions, that kind of thing, where as long as the main wallet, the sending wallet, is funded, it will keep on sending transactions to a list of addresses for however long you may want.
That's on the asset side?
Not just assets, all transactions.
Okay, interesting.
That's going to come in as part of our whole transaction decoupling, where all of the transactions move onto side chains.
How does that work? All the transactions won't be on main chain?
They will be, but not in the same way they are now. Right now, a lot of data is being written into the main chain, which means they use up a lot of space in the blocks. So what's going to happen is the smart node network is going to run essentially several side chains. And these side chains are each going to handle one type of transaction, possibly two. We need to look at a final implement before we decide that. And then instead of writing the whole transaction to the main chain, they're going to write the transaction hashes into the main chain, meaning we can save a lot of block space in the main chain. The only thing that'll be in the main chain is the notarization from the other chains, from the side chains, and the signatures from the, what do we call them, from the smart nodes performing the chain lock transactions, as well as the initial block reward. Nothing else.
Okay, and then ultimately it just keeps those fees so much lower.
It lowers the fees. It lowers the per kilobyte of data fee, which can otherwise get expensive. But more importantly, what it does is it drastically reduces the number of transactions. No, sorry, the amount of data written in for each transaction.
Yeah, a lot smaller size per transaction. Easier to process, much faster.
So instead of using like a couple of 100 kilobyte, maybe a 1 kilobyte hash string or something like that, a bit less, which is obviously orders of magnitude faster and easier to work with.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say now. Continue.
So, I mean, we're looking forward to that, but I mean, just getting assets live is going to mean that we can start actively marketing, because we've got one of the major features as deliverable. We've got Talon Wallet. Paul is heading up a team who are building a wallet that's going to work a bit like MetaMask.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. How exactly Talonwall? I haven't seen any pictures. I tried going to their site or anything like that, and there isn't really any information on it. So I was gonna ask. It's
There
like a
is,
MetaMask though, but for your UTXO type of thing.
yeah, not quite. I mean, we've still got. It turned out that somebody else was thinking the same thing, that this was lacking. Do you know My Ether wallet?
Oh yeah, yep,
Yeah, they're essentially the OG of Ethereum wallets, even before
yeah,
MetaMask and Consensus and all of their offerings came out. They've got a protocol where using Wallet Connect, their encrypt plugin, basically their version of MetaMask, but nicer. It's nicer, easier to use. You have a much better overview of what's going on than you do with MetaMask. It's called Encrypt. Now you can use it for Bitcoin, Litecoin, Doge. It is possible that we could either fork or collaborate with them on the inclusion of RTM and take that forward, or we could take what we've already built on our own forward. That's kind of a decision for the developers who are working on it to make. Both make sense in different ways, but we just want to make sure that it gets to the point of the best option being chosen.
yeah.
So
Now I know a
then,
big thing. EVM versus UTXO. What is your theory behind the two? As it sounds like kind of like the EVM chain, which is all your Ethereum chains and everything. They are very acceptable to scams, but allegedly the UTXO chains can somehow prevent that. They're like a smart contract or
mm,
something.
kind of yes and kind of no. It depends on the makeup of the entire thing. I mean, our assets are going to be on the protocol layer, meaning our assets have the same security as the coins we mine on chain. They have the same benefits, chain locking for transactions, insta-send if we turn that on. We probably will if we ever come close to getting stable coins on the RTM network. There is still an open conversation about that. Um,
Yeah, that's actually an interesting one because it seems like everybody, as soon as they launch their own chains, like they want to rush to be the stable coin so that people use their chain type of thing.
yeah, it's more about showing something called TVL in the EVM world, where you talk about total value locked. Um, it essentially means like the sum of on Polygon, all the wrapped Ethereum on Polygon, all the USDT on Polygon, all the BTC on Polygon. If you add all of them up, they form kind of like a total, a whole of the value of the Polygon chain, apart from Polygon's own value. It's because a lot of people in the space like to play that game and like to base market caps and things like that on that kind of thing. Having a stable coin come onto a network is a very big deal because they provide a huge number of transactions and they directly or indirectly provide a fiat on and off ramp.
Yeah,
You
for
don't
sure.
even have to be necessarily minting stable coins natively on your own network. You can have stablecoin access via somebody like router protocol and can on and off ramp it via someone like Banksa. There are many ways of doing this, and neither router nor Banksa are exclusively interested in working with EVM based chains. they're also open to working with other types of chains. Hopefully us included, once we get a bit more volume and things going, which is going to be wild.
Yes, things start picking up. We're moving
But
forward.
coming back to your original question about EVM chains versus UTXO chains, one of the problems for EVM chains is they rely on solidity for contracting, and everything they do is essentially contracted in solidity. There is not much left of their original protocol layer. Like, they used to have a proof of work layer with proof of work based consensus that on top of it had these little bits and pieces of contract moving around on it. The tokens and the dApps, essentially. Now those lines are getting blurred. As they get more and more blurred, you've got many more potential angles of attack, some of them caused by really solidity not being in a really properly mature state of development. Globally, good solidity developers, I would say there are under 10,000 of them. Probably less. Ones who can do copy paste and some minor adjustments, like porting a chain from BSC to Polygon, or Polygon to Avalanche or ARBITRUM or something like that. There's a bigger pool, let's say about 100,000. That's really not very much at all in the grander scheme of things. If you look at contracting in languages like just Python alone has several million developers.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I remember you guys talking about that before, and I was always like, you go in for a job application, and you could have a million people with great ideas, but if they don't know how to work your system, they're no good to you. So, and that's kind of like the difference between them here, where you're allowing the floodgates of all these people with ideas that are able to build.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas a lot of people are basically bottlenecked by solidity development. Most of the really good solidity developers aren't even working in the DeFi and crypto space. They're working in places like Hyperledger, which is a private blockchain solutions provider for businesses, really. I mean, they do great work. They're pioneering in the field. They do awesome work. But that just goes to further illustrate my point of there really aren't that many good people left out in the rest of the system.
Interesting. And like, depending on how the testnet goes, do you have like a rough timeline of when possibly things could move the mainnet? Sure, there's a lot more to keep building on to get that level, but
I mean, we are going to fork we're going to fork the testnet in early April. If that goes completely to plan, nothing almost ever goes completely to plan, but if it goes completely to plan, we should start deploying code for a voting upgrade in, I would say, May or June, end of May, early June for the mainnet. But that's
when it could go
live. That's when voting could start. Then we've got to get the whole network upgraded so that we don't have the situation where if you do a completely arbitrary upgrade, like everybody, you're on version 1.0 right now, you have to upgrade to version 1.2 by next Tuesday. If you don't upgrade to 1.2 by next Tuesday, you'll be causing problems on the network. Things will be a lot less smooth than they could be.
Yeah, and there's always probably that one or two that don't.
There are always a lot of people who, for one reason or the other, and I mean, I've been like that myself. I've missed updates. I missed the big one on Darrow the first time round. I caught it later. And I mean, it is what it is. So this voting mechanism, out of all the things that are online, once a decent consensus is reached of that, it will activate the features. The features will already be there in the code. They'll just be waiting for activation for till when the network decides that we've basically got more or less 80% ready across the board. And then
Well, that's interesting. So, like, the voting system is like, it's like telling the network, all right, we're at X percentage, we're ready to go all on its own type of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's kind of neat. Instead of just setting a date, the chain is actually doing it as people get ready, they're voting, they're good to go, and then the chain will just do it.
Yeah, once it's ready.
Yeah,
And
that's actually pretty neat. Instead of just saying, be ready by this date and time.
Yeah. Because be ready by this date and time, it can cause all kinds of interest. When you're rolling out as massive an update as assets, it can potentially cause interesting, weird, what do you call those, edge case issues that we'd have to deal with afterwards. So
Yeah,
make
the
sure
little hiccups.
always have a backup. Always have a backup, especially once it's forking time. Always have a backup of your wallet, etc.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, there's a question here from Frank B. Zagatti. How many projects are lining up to get on RTM? Is there any projects that are waiting to start building on it that you know of?
I mean, this is kind of a tricky question because if we're talking in terms of like projects from the regular DeFi space, there are a couple. But if we're talking about businesses who are planning to make use of our vendor platform, there are a lot more, well in excess of 100. But they're all smaller businesses, basically, which is kind of one of the main things we want to do on chain. We want to help some smaller businesses lift up their whole image and outlook and the way they do things, instead of them having to pay for expensive quality certification, which isn't always very transparent. Like, for example, ISO 9002. You've seen that on a lot of products, right? No, ISO 9001, sorry.
I'm not sure.
You know that ISO logo? You see it on the side of a lot of stuff.
Oh wait, yeah, I think so actually.
Yeah. The basic certification from them is called ISO 9001, and all it means is they certify that this business has a quality control system. Can you say that that's a transparent
QC
standard?
action.
Is that transparent?
No, not really. That's kind of weird to understand.
Yeah, exactly. Because it doesn't mean they're meeting any standards. It doesn't mean that they're doing anything particularly nice or anything like that. But it's a huge cost to a small business to add something like that, a documentation of what they essentially do. So what we're going to use NFTs and tokens for is we're going to give many of these smaller businesses a shot at self-publishing their quality and production information. And then once they do that, they get an NFT issued on-chain containing this quality and production information. What's going to happen with that is they're going to get QR code that will take anybody who scans it to an expanded Explorer. And that expanded Explorer will display all this information.
Okay, so that should like cut costs for businesses instead of going the traditional way, kind of.
It should cut costs massively, but it should also allow many smaller businesses who produce really high quality products to kind of self-certify. I mean, as a business owner, you've got to have balls of steel to put your production flow online, documented, and video, or any other format you may want to have it, because once it's published online, it's there forever.
That's interesting stuff for being built on Raptoreum.
Yeah.
So I know another question that comes up a lot though is on the mining side of things is the ASIC resistance. As you know, there's like 20 different algos, but I've seen you guys mention in the past that, you know, I don't know, a lot of people are asking it because they haven't seen it, but your take on what happens if, say, an ASIC was built. From what I gather is you guys, when ASIC was built tomorrow, you guys could almost fork the following day and just switch the algorithms a little bit, like around in different orders or something, and you're already back to being no ASICs again.
Yeah. And what we could even do is we could start making the scratch pad size variable. Meaning for the CryptoNote portions of the hash, we'd be able to adjust the size of the amount of cache needed for each thread up and down. And that will hit ASICs where it really hurts, right in the memory.
Right in the memory. Okay. Someone else asked, Frank B. Zagatti again, what about FPGAs if something like that was to emerge? It'd be the same thing, though.
FPGAs, not quite. Not quite. An FPGA you can reprogram, but you can't reprogram it to take into account things that, for example, if it uses random chain parameters to determine the size of the scratch pad, an FPGA can't reasonably, feasibly be programmed to take that into account. Or if it can, we are talking about devices that cost in excess of $500,000 a piece.
Yeah, it's a little expensive.
And that pricing is not going to change anytime soon, because they're mainly used for things like missile guidance systems or missile tracking radars, that kind of stuff.
Or ironfish.
No, that's actually smaller FPGAs.
I know, I'm just joking.
But yeah. No, what I was going to say with the other thing is the products. This is one of the reasons, the whole thing we're trying to do with business services for smaller businesses, essentially some of them don't even have to know that they're using blockchain. They come on, pay $10 via web form. The web form contains all the information they want published. It gets published. They get their QR code and they go back to their business. we've just partnered with MongoDB.
Yeah, that's
It's
what we're going to
something
move
we-
into next.
we-
So
we-
Mongo is a
we-
database?
Yeah. And Mongo is a database, and it's going to help facilitate making something like our expanded asset explorer reality. Like basically one of the better NFT explorers, where instead of it having to be like on OpenSea, where you can sit and scroll through NFTs one at a time, you can pull up any by a particular creator, and you can look at them and you can index them, and you can basically look at them in any way you want. But this will also display the specific asset from a QR code. This is one of the tools that Mongo is going to enable us to build. Mongo are faster, lighter than most of the clunky early databases. There are some other contenders out now, but they're not really as mature in many ways. There is Cassandra, I believe, from Apache. It's not really quite for that kind of thing. It's more for like data analytics. And then there is I can't remember the name of the one from Oracle.
I'm not
But
too sure.
Mongo is databases kind of run the internet, really, because most of the information you've got on a website is stored and retrieved in one way or the other via a database. You've got headlines and keywords and things like that loaded into a database, so when you search on a website, you get anything that's linked to that. It pops up for you. So what Mongo are doing with us is we're getting some beta access. Apart from the beta access, we're getting access to a program they've got for startups called Atlas. Atlas offers quite a significant amount of free credit for access to tools from them. And it's going to be great. They're one of the most important players in the space, in sort of the whole web-based industry. And getting support and essentially free tool package from them like this is, I don't know, it's like if you're wrenching on cars and DeWalt or Makita or one of the really quality tool providers decides to sponsor you.
Pretty sweet. I think I used Mongo before in the past to run a node. I think a Yata coin requires you to install Mongo. Is that the same Mongo?
It could very well be. Yeah. Yeah. It's the same Mongo.
Interesting. Okay, right on.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a quality product. We're really happy to have a partnership with them, and it's going to help make some of the things we had planned for the. Apart from Talon Wallet, the team are also building a marketplace, and it's going to help make this marketplace so much easier to achieve and to customize. But the place where we're going to see it first improve things is basically on how our Explorer works. It's going to become faster, lighter. Fewer things are going to need to be queried directly from a node. Because if you look something up at the moment on our Explorer, and if it doesn't have a cache for it, if it doesn't have it ready to go in one way or the other, it's going to actively have to send a query to a RAPTOREUM node, ask the chain what's going on there. then the chain is going to send that back, and then it's got to be converted into a human readable format on the Explorer. And that's actually pretty slow.
And
But
this is
with
going to give it a big boost.
With Mongo, we can essentially expand a lot of the things we've got cached and ready on the Explorer. And it means that instead of having to ask a node, it's only going to have to ask the local database. If it asks the local database, the response should be several thousand times faster.
Nice, several thousand. That's, it's pretty fast.
Yeah, it's the equivalent to using the API, at least, if not even. I think the GUI may end up faster than the current API implementation.
It's like going from riding a horse to driving a Lambo.
Something like that. Yeah.
One thing I don't think is mentioned a lot is RAPTOREUM rewards, block rewards, have been decreasing. How long have they been decreasing for? I know it like 6 months now. It's kind of like not fast tracked like Kaspa, but the way your emissions is now working is that every month. Is it every month though? To confirm on that it drops something like 20 or something like that, or a certain percentage. I'm not really sure the numbers on it though.
It drops a very small percentage every. What is it? 28 point something days. It more or less exactly matches the cycles of the moon.
Oh, moon cycles. You hear that, guys? Moon cycles. And the moons are coming.
Yeah, no, it actually came from owls and owling, which is raptors. We all like birds of prey, and not just the dinosaur kind. We also like the big eagles.
Oh yeah,
owls.
the little one. She loves raptors, birds, raptors, the dinosaurs, all of them. Raptors. She's all for it.
Yeah. And I mean, it comes from owls and what we call an owling, and that's actually the old. I can't remember if it was German or French name for that cycle. The octases. But yeah, it makes it a little bit harder for somebody who wants to predict when moon, because we're not halving in the same way as a lot of other projects are.
Yeah, it's a lot slower now over time.
Yeah, it's slower over time, and I believe it's a better model for business sustainability. Meaning, if you buy hardware to support the network now, we're not going to have an event next year or the year after that'll immediately invalidate a very large percentage of the value of that hardware. I've always found that to be not a particularly nice thing to do to miners.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people don't like it when their rewards go away.
Yeah, I mean, and the same happens with every Bitcoin halving. You get a percentage of the miners who get upset and throw the towel in the ring and walk away mad.
And then 6 months later, when the price goes up, they turn back on. They're happy.
Or they've already rage quit and sold their equipment for almost nothing.
Or yes, that's very likely as well. That's what we see in a lot of bear markets.
And then a lot of the rest of us are going to sit there laughing, and they're going to be really, really, really salty every time they talk to us.
So a little more now on when contracts and everything go live here. There's also going to be, so that's all being validated smart node side. Most of it, or 80% or something.
Contracts aren't quite yet. All of what we're doing with assets is actually inside the protocol. It's inside like the base layer of the chain. We're not using any additional code for assets. It's not like on an EVM chain where in order to deploy a token, you've got to paste some Solidity code into what's it called? An IDE like Hardhat or Truffle Or Open Zeppelin's deployer. I can't remember which one that is. That might actually be Hardhat. So all you need to do is to use the RTM wallet, and via the RTM wallet, you will be able to deploy your asset live on chain instantly, which makes it a lot easier. I mean, it makes the whole role we'd kind of envisioned for ourselves become reality. We started off with looking at what was going on Raven and what was going on Ethereum, and we decided that the concept from Raven of issuing tokens on the protocol layer was definitely far superior, better, because it comes with a higher degree of security and you're immune to secondary factors like attacks on the programming language for the tokens. And that sort of led into the whole way we're doing things. We wanted to take that, add some more features to it, and add contracting capabilities, but not contracting to create the assets themselves, but contracting for how everything interacts. We feel that that's a significantly better model.
Interesting. So, will there be any like say once everything is live, ready to go? Will any extra fees be going to either the proof of work or the node side of things, or is everything going to be the same?
Yeah. Yes. This is something you really should watch on this testnet. Once asset code activates on this testnet, have a look at the smart node rewards, because 80% of issuance and minting fees will be directed to the smart nodes, as they will be basically running the side chains for making these transactions happen. And this should give a considerable boost to smart node ROI, but it's not going to be a predictable boost, because you can't say when people are going to be issuing assets, when they're going to be sending them around, stuff like that. So
Yeah,
what
for
it's,
sure.
what it's going to do is it's going to incentivize smart node owners to not just, you know, with a lot of master nodes, a lot of people, they like to just basically sit back, chill, and not really engage with the community or do anything. They just sit there claiming the rewards, either compounding them or selling them off as they come in.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
kind of this usage-based component, it kind of incentivizes people to, my brother-in-law runs a small dairy, or my brother-in-law runs a small carpentry workshop. I should go and talk to him. It kind of incentivizes participation beyond what's traditional on, let's say, chains like Dash.
Interesting.
I mean, if people gain something positive for a certain kind of behavior, a lot of people are going to eventually move in that direction.
Oh,
Well,
for
that's
sure. Yeah, if people start seeing more coming in from somewhere, that opens up people's eyeballs.
yeah. Yep. Some of the
Especially
smart
when-
node owners are going to be sitting in the Discord chat going, ha 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 ha. My node earned so and so much yesterday. Ha ha. What did your node earn?
Especially when RAPTOREUM's over $1,000, huh? No, don't spit your coffee out.
Yeah, but I've been. I don't hope we get there because that says something about what the value of the dollar is going to be, and that wouldn't be good for anybody.
Yeah, I guess that would suck.
Stable change, slow and gradual. That way, everybody's got a chance to get used to it.
So you also have a big partnership coming up, which you can't really tell anybody yet.
No, but I can tell that I expect it to be confirmed either Monday or Tuesday, but the substance of it is over $100,000 worth of essentially sponsorship access to different software development tools, which is going to be wild because we'll be able to speed up a lot of things. And I just, it should be confirmed, but I want to see just 2 more things before I go out and say specifically what it is. But I mean, it's pretty wild, really.
Good stuff. Anybody have any questions while we're still talking away here? Let us know in the live chat. So we went over exchanges and stuff for the assets. Now, are there anything for possible future sites you guys will? I know everyone's always like, oh, when's this going to be on Binance? When's this going to be on that? Or is there maybe, though, something for possibly like MEXC or something?
We are not chasing Binance or basically top 10.
I
We
don't
would
like
be
Binance personally, but
we would be interested in working with someone like MEXC. I mean, they have had some issues recently.
oh, really? What are those? Because I use them for like everything. But again, I never keep my coins on exchange. But I do find they have most of the coins I mine.
if you move your funds on and off right away, they're perfectly fine. It seems to be mostly centered around problems for people who've been trading futures on there, or projects who've had futures on there. I don't want to sit and badmouth them because I mean sometimes a lot of people go on Twitter and they get Karen syndrome really bad. I've also seen examples of people attacking them in completely baseless, pointless manner. So I wouldn't say they're bad, and the incidents have been completely off-putting, but it's enough for it to be somewhat concerning.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not smart enough for all that future stuff. I'm just spot in and out of there. See you later.
Yeah. I must admit, I do like to trade a little bit of futures once in a while. That whole rush you get from turning $10 into 200,
I don't even know how that works. That's why I stay away.
What it does is essentially you borrow money from the exchange to buy or sell whatever coin it is you're trading. Buying if you're going long, selling if you're shorting. So if you're doing 100x, that means your $10 is going to function like 1,000. And it's going to earn profits like you'd invested $1,000. But if the market moves against you, you have to maintain enough margin on your position to not be liquidated. Meaning, if you're using 100x, the price can go against you by 1 or 2% and you're still okay. But if it gets much above 2%, then poof, your money's gone.
Gone. That sucked.
Yeah. but it's still a massive thrill to go on there. Just make sure to keep the amount small enough that it doesn't really matter if you win or lose, and make sure to cash out
Yeah,
when
I'm
it's
sure.
green.
Millstick says the same thing there. It's a rush, winning, and it's addictive.
Yeah, it's incredibly addictive. If you've got like a string of very high PNLs, you sit there and think, I am king shit on Turd Hill, and then the next trade you're going to wipe out.
I've got a question here from Tech Man. He wants to know, what are the thoughts on the Securities Commission and crypto regulations that may pertain to Raptorium?
It is very simple. We're not operating from inside the United States. We are a registered business in the Seychelles. We are a distributed global entity. We couldn't care less. What it does mean, though, is we may potentially have problems with listings on some of the more US-focused marketplaces. We do have legal review for the Howey test. And the legal review for the Howey test essentially says we are not a security. And if the SEC wants to do anything about it, they can argue with our lawyers. We're not necessarily in any kind of trouble or at risk, etc.
Awesome. And touching up on that, seeing how there's a lot of smart node services pop up, disappear, and so on. As we know, you guys vetoed and validated iNodes, as it's very hard to legitly run a smart node service. You can only do it in small places around the world, licensing. And there's recent releases with that mining power, alleged rug pull, or they're just dumb with their wallets because they just don't know what they're doing. So yeah, I want to touch up on looking for legit smart node hosting services, on what to look for.
Are they a Wyoming business in the States? Because Wyoming has laws that would otherwise require that sort of counter out. Normally, to be a masternode hosting service, a shared hosting service, you would have to be a money service business because you're taking deposits from people. And then you start getting into some really, really gray legal areas. Wyoming has a couple of laws in place that exempt local crypto businesses from that kind of regulations. And those are basically where we encourage people. They're where we encourage people to incorporate because they've got legal protection. Everybody's got a certain amount of legal protection. Product liability insurance is there to a somewhat more limited degree in case an actual hack does happen. But it also means that people put their faces out there. They are suable in case there's any criminal fraud or anything of that kind. It's not just iNodes. Solinodes is registered there as well. We don't welcome advertising on the Discord unless you are a registered, easily verifiable business. If you are a registered, easily verifiable business, somewhere where they don't have requirements for you to be a money service business or similar, then we welcome you on the Discord. You are more than welcome to come on, advertise. Competition is always good. A couple of people have taken rather grievous amounts of umbrage at that in the past. I don't really care. It's kept us away from having situations like, what you're describing with mining power. we haven't been involved in anything like that to any extent that really matters. We did have one that wasn't really, that was about a year and a half ago. A smaller pool was hosting, I think it was 2 nodes for some of their miners. He had a house fire, so both the main server for the nodes and the backup server got burnt up at the same time. But I mean, there was never any doubt about what happened there. The guy lost his house and home, and nobody got really particularly upset about it.
Damn, that would suck. I have a question here about what makes RTM different from other cryptocurrencies?
I mean, we're not really here to compete with anybody. We're here to fill what we initially, back when we started, saw as a hole in the whole thing. A lot of the chains that are trying to be the fastest with the highest throughput, they're just creating a whole new stack of problems for themselves. What happens if the Houthis blow up all the internet cables under the Red Sea? What happens if a North Korean submarine decides to blow up a couple of the big Pacific internet cables? What happens if the AC3 data center on the East Coast in the US goes down? It routes most of the traffic, internet traffic to Europe. Solana dies, Ethereum dies, or maybe not completely dies, but Uniswap won't work, OpenSea won't work. And if they do work, you will get front run on transactions by MEV bots to the point of you most likely not having any money left when your transaction actually executes.
Trying to send $5, but it costs you about 30,000 to do so.
Yeah, not just that. You have got certain situations where slippage and gas and that kind of thing essentially go beyond what you accepted because communication breaks down on the network. And once that starts happening, things aren't particularly good or positive. We're still going to have a 2-minute block time. The blocks are going to be relatively small, meaning even in a situation of all of that stuff happening, our 2 megabyte block size can still, distribute itself globally. We don't have to have like 10 gigabit bandwidth or 25 gigabit of bandwidth in order to talk to from node to node quickly enough for everything to work brilliantly. The relatively slow block time compared to some of those top chains, and the relatively small size of the blocks means we should basically be able to survive via Starlink, and then Starlink down to whatever local internet wherever. And I mean, with the way politics are going at the moment, I think that puts us in a unique position to fill a potentially very valuable role.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So RTM could essentially survive the apocalypse. This is what's going on. A lot of decentralization.
Not quite the apocalypse, but
not full bore.
No. If everybody loses if the mushroom clouds start rising up, but sort of pretty much anything up to that point, we're fine.
All right, so just under the apocalypse. Zombies?
Yeah. Zombies?
So zombies.
Have you been out on a main street looking at people with their phones?
Good call. They're already here. That apocalypse is already set and happening.
I mean,
Someone
yeah.
asked here, I have a question. What's the goal? So it's probably still kind of answered already, but what is, the goal of RTM in general? Like, what is your goal for the future?
To be a free and independent ecosystem where we can go back and follow the whole ethos from Bitcoin. Code is law. We don't really respect interference in what's going on. You don't like the code? Well, you can fork it and run your own. Rather than, oh, we've got a little centralized switch that can move your coins back where they came from because little Johnny may have hacked 2 of them.
Yeah.
That's just not crypto in any way, shape, or form.
So you guys, mentioned I watched over DJ's stream. You're talking about you have a beta version or looking for alpha testers on new proof of earning to play games or something like that, whatever it's called.
Soka Game Dev has been working on something called Ghost Rider Valley. It's a very simple 2D game where you can meet a lot of characters from our Discord server. I believe you may even be in there, Rabid.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A lot of different people are in there. One of the best is a little cat that goes around, keeps on saying "Good morning, sunshine," and it's called. I think you know who that is from the Discord.
Yeah.
But we've got discrete advertising in that game, which will turn into different forms of credit. Some of which will be convertible into RTM. We are going to be supporting the first few rounds of it just to get some play to earn going so we can kind of tick that box before the big things like the MMORPGs and there are still a couple of other guys, but one of them got ill working on a lineage server where RTM was integrated essentially. I can't remember if it was as gold or instead of the diamonds or something like that. That's more
Interesting.
that's more Charlie's side of things than it is my side of things. We've got the whole NFT thing going on with the Smith as well.
Yeah, I've seen them. He's building those on the live streams every week.
Yeah. Yep. And he's got a couple of swords coming up. Those swords might have something to do with some of the stuff we talked about earlier.
Oh,
About potentially getting a large new market or two.
Yeah. I know like a while back you guys were talking about that big MMO. But that one, that dev, he's in Ukraine or something, isn't he? So that's been having a huge delay on things.
The very first guy we had in working on it turned out to be somebody who could only do graphics and something wasn't quite right with him. I mean, he did a lot of awesome graphics, but ask him to push any code, oops. However, Charlie has gotten a couple of guys from, I believe one is from Turkey and the other one was from, I think, Tajikistan, working on it. Graphics, a lot of the designs have come a very long way. And in a few months, they might start being able to do things like teasing with little trailers and that kind of thing.
Oh, right on.
But
That's
I mean, it's still an extremely long haul project.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's still like 10 years
Seeing
out.
we haven't taken on funding for it. We don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars of treasury. We should probably have sold a little bit more aggressively back when everything was at 8 cents, but yeah, live and learn. We
Yeah, you
didn't
never know what's going on.
we didn't expect the whole Russia-Ukraine political nonsense thing to start 2 months after that point. And I mean, at that point, everything was still very good, really. We had solid income stream, solid distributed community. We were really sorry for what that did to a large part of our community. We had about 30% Russian and Ukrainian participants on the Discord. It was awful that asshat old men who like to push people's buttons got that whole thing going.
Crazy stuff, yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
someone asked about that lineage earlier. Lineage there. Is that the first one or the second one?
I am not 100% certain, to be honest. That's a Charlie question.
Charlie question. All right.
Believe it's 3.
There's a third one? There's 3 of them now? Or is there only 2? I don't even know how many there are.
It's either 2 or 3.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm not sure. So,
But I mean, it's a Charlie question. It's not really the side of things that I do a lot of work with. My main focus is getting these business use cases out there.
yeah, that's
Charlie,
cool. So you guys are like focusing on businesses here. You got gaming stuff going on. You got all sorts of things happening.
Charlie is the soft and squishy guy for the whole community thing and community-led projects and games and things like that. I'm the grumpy old fart who worries about businesses. Yeah.
You're the one with the whip. Tell the truth.
Shit, you got me there.
Don't fall over. Don't fall over.
No, you got me there. That was a good one. No, I'm very far from it, but yeah. So that's kind of what's going on, and hopefully, a couple of days into the coming week, I'll be able to hit you up on Discord and say, "Hey, we've got something we'd like to tell your community about," because your community has been a fantastic one. They've supported us the whole way through. It's just awesome.
Yeah, thanks. No problem. And yeah, things will be interesting for sure. We'll get that announcement out as soon as we know what's going on from Biggie, for sure. And then also, yeah, so all this stuff, businesses, gaming stuff, assets, everything's, on testnet pretty much and betas. And, it's going to be interesting to see how the next few years does progress moving forward here.
Yeah. I mean, it's gone. It's looks like it's going from strength to strength at the moment. We've got a whole string of potential partnerships coming up over the summer. We get assets live, get that kicking out there, get transaction decoupling code going, get smart contracts going. Sky's the limit. It's awesome. Thank you very much for having me on, Rabid.
No problem. Thanks for coming out here. I guess we'll end our conversation and then I'll just do a few more minutes
Do we have
left of the stream.
any questions left
Oh,
in the
yeah.
stream?
Are there any questions? I haven't seen any for the past little bit here. I'll just give it a few minutes here. Anybody got any last minute questions here for Big Piggy over here? They're saying it's going to moon very bad, so high, very soon.
Wow, they're going nuts in the chat.
Going nuts, yeah. It doesn't look like we have any questions.
Do you need silver card? No, you do not need Solana to buy RTM. You can buy RTM on CoinEx, TradeOgre. Where else are we listed? CoinEx, TradeOgre. GraviX should be back up and running soon, by the way. They have finally managed to get a server up that will run with Ubuntu 22. What else is going on? We're on ZegX as well. Big shout out to Mike and Carl over there. They run a good little exchange. We're in the Komodo wallet on the Komodo DEX, which is probably the only real DEX around where it is fully decentralized and beyond anybody's control. So feels good, and hopefully more news about that kind of market soon. Yeah.
Someone's asking the pirate here if there will be a Stacy for YouTube chat.
Ooh, I don't know how we do that. I don't. Stacy is our wallet bot on the Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Pepe is asking, will devs create any asset coin like Big Piggy USDT before live? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Pepe. If you mean things like, will we do temporary placeholders for USDT? We might. It depends on the different stablecoin providers we engage with, how they would like things to work, etc. It might have their prefix on it. There are so many potentials.
Joseph is asking here, will there be a RTM burn?
An RTM burn? No. But a different kind of redistribution from once assets are live. A lot of fees are going to be going into basically the nodes, improving the ROI for the nodes, and generally incentivizing the node operators to not just fall asleep and be passive members of the community, but to get them out there talking to people, just like the rest of us. But yeah.
Yusuf Putz asks, what's the best cold wallet for RTM? Now, there are none that we're aware of, but have you guys been talking to anyone for cold storage?
I mean, a cold wallet is what you make of it. Their Tree has a cold wallet implementation up on the GitHub. You can take the core wallet, generate an address with it, delete the wallet from your PC, back up the wallet, private key, the private key to that address, and mine to it. That's going to be cold storage until you at some point later in life load it up into a main wallet. I mean, there's no difference between that and what a hardware wallet does. So
that's very true, I guess. We just took your wallet.dat file, threw it on a USB drive, and threw that in a safe. Plug it in whenever you want to use it, type of thing.
Not quite plug it in whenever you want to use it, but like have an old laptop dedicated to it, dedicated to running your wallets and nothing else, literally nothing else. No browsers, no browsers for anything other than just downloading the wallets and stuff like that.
Fudwise is trying to RTM send in chat here, but it's not working.
Or just generate a paper wallet, which basically gives you an address and a private key. You can send coins or mine to the address, and once you want to use it, you then load that private key up into a core wallet.
Someone asked here, is there any chance to lower the node quantity? The collateral, I guess, is what they're asking.
The collateral, no. It's got to be substantial. The whole point of it being relatively expensive is once we start contracts running, they're going to be vital. I mean, just once we get the whole decoupling thing running, they're going to be completely indispensable. And if we lower the collateral, what can happen is it becomes easier for someone who wants to mess around with the chain to dilute the node consensus and attack it in that way.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
It is steep, but I mean at the same time there are good quality, trustworthy shared node providers that do things properly. We are looking at doing something like a slightly different implement where we've got, let's say Rabid has a host and he's got a node, he can run the software. I've got the collateral. I can set up a node on Rabid's VPS host, but the funds never leave my wallet. A percentage of the rewards go to Rabid for running the node for me.
Taking donations now. I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. But I mean, that is as safe as it gets in terms of hosting. But we are looking at an implement where we can split that. So, for example, 4 or 5 guys can delegate their node stake to a single address, and then it functions as a node there. However, when that's going to arrive, I'm not even going to make a prediction about that, because we've gotten a couple of implements to work. However, so far, each one of the members is capable of spending all the coins.
Oh yeah, interesting.
Which is not a good situation. Yeah. We need to have more of a look at how that can be done with multi-sigs and something like that. It's quite esoteric, really, for the Bitcoin code base. And it's not something where you can just go and do. It's got to be completely planned out, tested, tried, tested, etc. That's coming, but if it takes a year or if it takes 2, I have no clue.
Yeah, but that's interesting though. It's in the workshop. It's in the workshop. Group of friends can get together, and someone that might have some hardware can set it up for everybody. Guess you get to see how close your friends really are.
That's with the current implement. We want to get it to the point where the only thing you can do is delegate your share of the collateral towards that node. Once it hits the 1.8 million, then the node functions and runs. But you've got to be fairly certain of the people you're doing this with, because if one of them decides to yank his share at some point, and they will be able to do that, then it's going to go poof.
Yep. Thanks for everything.
Yeah. Anyway, good.
Yeah, it looks like that's everything we got here so far. Any last minute words?
Again, man, fantastic. Thanks for having us on. Thanks for having been supportive the whole way through. Really appreciate it. You've got one of the best communities going here. A lot of our community are in here as well. So thanks, guys. Thanks, all of you. It's awesome. And we've got great news on the way.
All right, Biggie. Thanks for showing up, Big Piggy. And hopefully sometime this week we will get back in touch with you.
Yeah. Thank you, Rabid, for having this chat with us. Awesome stuff, man. Cheers.
Okay, we're back kind of normal here. Now my settings are messed up. So what's going on, everyone? What do you guys think about all this stuff that was been going on and craziness? So where's my chat now? I lost everything. My whole... Okay, hold on. There it is. There, I found my chat again. We're back on the normal chat. Got to hit the refresh. Everything's craziness. All right, looking good. Close that out. I got to see what's going on over here now. I got Scafer and we got Wormworks over here. I can hear him. I hear you both. Okay, we can hear everybody. Okay, everything's good there. Everything's good there. All right, so yeah, what's happening? What's everybody doing? Let's do some talks. How's everybody doing? Rabid's still here. Brill, let's get back on track. Being of gamers. Yeah, we still got to talk about that. Oh my gosh, we've been here forever, but we still got to talk about that. Stop buying all the CPUs, guys. Yes, I'm talking to you guys. Gamers are getting mad. The shortages. Don't you know this? So it's funny how things initially start. You know, it was what, a couple of weeks ago we started seeing, you know, the gamer blogger post kind of posting about, you know, there's a CPU shortage. Miners are buying the 7950Xs, blah, blah, you know, going on. And everyone's just like, I still can see CPUs. I can get CPUs. CPUs are everywhere. There's no shortage. What are you talking about? Well, that's how it all starts. It starts with a rumor. And then, you know, maybe somewhere over here, one state in the U.S. or maybe one place in Europe or something, it's out of stock. It's out of stock. And then it grows and it grows and it grows until eventually you look around the corner and you're like, I'm going to order a CPU. There's no CPUs anymore. Where's all the CPUs? So it does look like it is slowly happening. There have been some people in my Discord that went to buy some GPU or CPUs here, and there are none. I was actually looking on Amazon here, and there is none in stock locally now for Canadian Amazon. You can go to other buying options. This is regular, $750 Canadian CPU, but now look at them. They're $829, $844, $911, $923. They're up over $200 and no longer MSRP. So it's slowly starting to begin here as it moves forward. Now, some of you guys are still living close to micro centers, so you're lucky. The 7950X3Ds are still in stock. Their normal price, $797 or whatever Canadian. But, you know, it's slowly starting. So what do you guys think about this? You guys buying CPUs? Like, who mines on the CPU? Seriously. Who does this stuff? Oh, yeah, that's me. Never mind. I do. I do this stuff. Rabid mining gram video. I haven't done one, but you guys have been asking how the heck do I set this up. So yeah, we'll probably show you guys how to mine some gram here eventually next couple days or something. Is there staking in the wallet? Are we talking about RTM staking? No, there isn't. Are you referring to gram? You mine Virus for fun? Virus has been getting some things built and the block rewards have increased sometimes. So now we're back. Does that mean one more hour of Rabid mining? No, I'm out of water, and you know we'll probably be here for a couple minutes, but not too much. I want a good FPGA. Cypress Cypher, a good FPGA. Here, you know what? Do I have it here? Where's the link? Do I have a link here? No, it's not here, is it? It's not here. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna find you a link to a good FPGA because it's awesome. It's good. I just got to bring up my Discord, go into here. I got to come in. Where is it? Do I have it in ASICs? No, it's not there. FPGA, where are you? Where are you? FPGA, come on. Too many channels here. All right, this guy right here. Right click, copy, engage. I'm going to engage this FPGA right here. So code Rabid mining is 1% off if you want to utilize that. But, you know, this is the Superscaler K10 Plus. It's pretty beast mode when it comes to FPGAs. You can get that at Jingle Mining with that link. 1% off the Rabid mine. But that's what I've been testing so far lately. I'm going to have the full test video released maybe this week, maybe next week. We'll see what happens. I'm bouncing back and forth between the one Jazz miner and that P2 coal engine or dealio. But, you know, that's so far for FPGAs, that thing is absolute beast mode. K10 or DG1? DG1. Which one was the DG1? That's a Doge miner, isn't it? The DG1's a Doge miner. K10, I'm talking about the coal engine P2, which used to be known as the Superscaler K10 Plus. Crazy stuff. But yeah, that one there. I have an AM4 motherboard ready to go. Just need a CPU. You think the 5900X or 5950X is good stream? Yes, awesome stream. I know. Hit that like button, guys. But do you think the 59 or 50? Whatever you find for a decent price. Now, personally, myself, because I only have the power to maybe run 6 more rigs, I'm only getting 7950Xs or 7950X3Ds. I might even halt that altogether and just wait for the new gen of the 9000 series and get the 9950Xs, depending. There's a lot of rumors floating around. We don't know how they're going to do. One rumors are saying, the AVX 512 is almost double in performance. There's other articles out there claiming that, the next gen of AMD Zen 5 here is going to be almost 30% faster per thread in terms of performance. So that's going to be huge if that's the thing. I don't know if it's going to be a thing or not. So we're going to have to wait and see, what this CPU looks like when it does release. And it is releasing this year. So be ready for that. I'm going to be saving up some money so we can play with one of those. But until then, it's all speculation. We don't know how it's going to be. But currently, right now, based on everything that's released, it's 7950Xs or 7950X3Ds is currently the only CPU I'm currently going to be purchasing from this point moving forward. It's not really, even if I found a $50 3900X, yeah, sure, ROI is fast, but just the point where my farm is, I don't want it anymore. Even if it was free, I probably, free, who goes wrong with free, but no, but seriously, I'm talking like $50, $100, I still wouldn't build it because I'm looking for peak efficiencies, higher hash rates, and density, and that's what you get with the bigger 7000 series. So, I'm really kind of putting myself on, tunnel vision here and just ignoring all 3 and 5000 series together at this point and just sticking to those. But we'll see what happens, as time goes by. I'll wait for next gen for GPUs and CPUs. Yeah, GPUs is a major one too. I think GPUs is interesting because I don't know. The 4090 may have opened. See, people are still like, they're used to the last bull run and they just wanted to get every GPU, you can get your hands on. Sure, you were seeing lower prices now. I think Canadian at 3070 is like $300, $350 or something. I can't remember exactly. But we're getting to the point where hardware, so much hash rate online, so much hash rate ready to turn back on once profitability comes up. It's almost like ASICs where we're seeing huge gaps in performances on the newer stuff versus the older stuff. So before we had Ethereum, and it didn't matter. You could buy a GPU. It was profitable. Ethereum was huge. Right now, these coins are not huge. These coins, they're all suck compared to Ethereum. If you're going now, the coins are good, but they suck by how much they're paying miners. And right now, it is looking like an efficiency jump each round here. Look what the 4090 did to the 3090. It doesn't even compare, especially on core base. And now we're possible coming out with a 5090, which has double the memory bandwidth of the 3090s and 4090s, on top of getting another increase in core boost here. The 5090 is just going to blow these things out of the water, and it's not going to really make much sense to possibly mine on like 3070s, 3060 Ti's. I think we're seeing a generational gap happen in performances here, just like ASIC. So I'm almost considering GPU mining mining as just like ASIC mining at this point. Yes, there's more decentralization because it's general hardware, consumer grade stuff, and you can move to multiple coins. But I'm just doing the comparison because we're seeing huge gaps in the performance and much better efficiencies. And the 4090 was a prime example, and we could see a possible double performance boost yet again, but this time also hitting the memory side. So I think 5090s is the only thing I'm really waiting for. I don't even care if I found $50 3070s. I'd rather one 15090, like right now at a 4090 for an example, mining Gram, which is core based, memory based. They are a lot closer together. The 44,000 series isn't that great, but most of these profitable coins are all core based. Now I take my single 4090, it hashes more than frickin' 5 or 6 frickin' 3060 Ti's or 3070s on the one GPU, and it's using the power of only a couple of them. Like, you can see the difference in performance here, and I kind of mentioned this yesterday. Is I was excited to start mining Gram. Price is going up, profitability's looking decent. I fired up my whole Octaminer X12 with 12 GPUs in it, and my one single 4090 in my workstation was almost half the hash rate at a fraction of the power. And I just wanted to shut that whole Octaminer off again. I'm like, this is stupid. Like, it's just dumb. It doesn't make sense anymore at this point, because I feel this is just a generational gap happening for GPUs. Now, I totally hope I'm wrong and hope everything's profitable here. It also comes down to your power price. If you have cheap power, it doesn't really matter what you run. You can run the cheapest crap in the world and you'll still be profitable, and you can buy all the cheapest garbage ever. But most residential miners, which is who I cater to, I have cheap power compared to most of them out there as well. I'm at 11 cent per kilowatt hour USD, and people are out there with 15, 20, 30 cent power, which it just doesn't make sense to run a lot of these. And when you do finally get profitable there, you're using way too much power, and that's even better where the higher grade, new 5000 series and the 4090s are just better to run anyway. So that's kind of how I'm seeing GPUs progress here. Is we are going to need the new GPUs to compete with all the hash rate and all the other farms and all the cheaper power people. Just because, I don't know. That's just my point of view on the whole situation. Fans 100% free power. That's another thing I find really funny here. You see people, I just got this huge fan and this huge fan, but nobody's ever accounting for the power. Some of these fans are using 500 to 1,000 watts alone, but they're saying, oh, my GPU farm only costs this much to run, and they're only calculating their GPUs. All this stuff is also using more and more power that it seems everybody ignores when they come to their power calculations and so on. When it comes to me, I calculate everything that is on because I want to know what's making what I need. If I can drop a fan and run a little less efficient here, in theory, I could be making more than running that instead of running that. Like, I'm always playing Tetris with my power, electrical Tetris with my farm, and it's crazy. So Fudweiser gifted 5 memberships. Welcome. Congratulations to everyone who did get these 5 gifted memberships. Theus S, Mining Meister, Chirish wins a lot of these too, I think. I think it's rigged. Jockwick Miner UK, he wins a lot also. Both of you guys have like 2-year subscriptions here, all on gifted memberships, I think. I just messed around, but congratulations, guys. Vega A3, or maybe 8 is what it's supposed to stand for. 1029, congratulations. Awesome to all you guys who did win. Chirish, Woot rigged again. Fundweiser says CDM. Something's going on in the DM situation. What is he telling me? Oh, nominations. I see some nominations. Okay, interesting. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Uh-oh. I'm not seeing it. I can't find them. They're not talking. Here. So, scrolling. Okay. Still not working. Is the pirate still here? Is the pirate? Would the real Zapirate please stand up? Real Zapirate, please stand up. Zapirate, are you here? I don't see him. Oh, there he is, Zapirate. So I have to tell you something here. What is this? All right, there. So there we go. Did that work? Do we see something happening? There was a nomination coming in through a DM for Zapirate to get a blue name, supposedly. Let's see if he gets a wrench, which means don't say bad words. The pirate will kick you to the curb. Oh, look at that. There it is. It seems to work. So we got a new mod on the channel. The pirate rocks in with a wrench. Handy dandy wrench happening right there. So congratulations, the pirate, for gaining access to hacking me. Oh, that's not how it works, is it? No. Okay. Okay, we cleared that up. Congratulations, there's a pirate. You're now a mod. Does anybody want to get banned just so we can test out his powers? I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that unless we have to. So do we have any questions, guys? That we have been, oh wow, it's been almost 2 hours. I don't normally stream this long, and now it sounds like we're going to have a special announcement on the RAPTOREUM partnership coming up in possibly 2 or 3 days. So we're going to have a midweek stream happening. It sounds, you know, Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll probably have another stream going live midweek here to figure out what is this announcement from some big software company that's going to be rocking into the RAPTOREUM world. So it's interesting. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the future of RAPTOREUM? You know, that been hearing some more news about it with the assets coming in, the business side of things to help out businesses on the blockchains and in assets, smart contracts, all this stuff in testnet. And, you know, once this stuff hits mainnet, we could start to see things start to, you know, we're going to start seeing Raptors start to fly. How about, you know, DeFi platforms? We didn't even get into that. I forgot. We didn't even talk about the DeFi platforms. That's a major thing as well moving forward. DeFi is literally what got Ethereum to explode. You know, yeah, they had the stable coins and stuff as well. But when DeFi released on Ethereum, that's what caused a whole bunch of major things. You got the DeFi platforms, you got all the meme coins emerging, and, you know, everything just went chaotic from there. So interesting. Maybe time to set up an RTM node, get them wrapped. Oh yeah, speaking of that, I didn't fix my, is mine down still? I totally forgot about my RAPTOREUM node. Remember yesterday I said I was like, oh, it is waiting for remote activation, so I got to do this again. Oh, I still broke this. So yeah, so after today's stream, which is pretty soon, I'm gonna have to try to fix this. This time hopefully I'll remember by the time the stream ends, but we'll see what happens. Darn it. Oops. I gotta fix that. I gotta get that fixed here quick. Back to type chat, back to live chat. All right, guys. So anyway, we have been here for a little while. I do appreciate everyone for showing up for this live stream. And we will be back sometime earlier on the week. I got to figure out, I got to do some videos so we can release something for tomorrow. But thank you for checking this out, guys. I will see you all on the next one. Rabid out. Hit that like button.